Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's presentation, in which we'll be going over training on ethics, or for those familiar with The Office, the opposite of what Michael Scott would do. We'll talk about the importance of having ethics training in the workplace, and we'll go into some theoretical ideas behind it, and then we'll do a couple scenarios showing situations that may come up uh, within our department. So I had a professor who once said, you don't get ready for the World Cup the night before, meaning that if you're going to achieve success, A, to get to the World Cup and to have success in the World Cup at the highest stage of excellence, then you're going to have a long-term preparation plan. And this also applies to business and public administration, where you can't just react to misconduct at the last minute. You had to set the standards, clarify the code, educate your organization over a longer period of time. And that's what's going to lead to the results. Now, looking at the chart here from the Ethics and Compliance Initiative, we're looking at companies without an effective program versus those with an effective program. And we see when you have a large company with an effective program, you have uh, less observed misconduct, a higher rate of reported misconduct, and lower rates of retaliation from supervisors and management. So it's just a better overall acceptance of the um, ethics program. Now, going into some theoretical background as to why we need ethics in our workplace and our department. Ethics is a virtue. You go all the way back to Immanuel Kant, and he spoke about the categorical imperative. We have a categorical imperative to do what is right. It is our duty to do what is right. And to determine our duty, we have to think about universalism. What if everyone were to do this action? Would it bring negative results, or would it not bring negative results? If it brings negative results, then it's our categorical imperative to not do that action, and our imperative to do things that could be applied universally. Now, the importance of having a code of conduct in the workplace, it provides compliance and transparency at the agency level. In government, we are beholden to the public. So when the public knows that we have a code of conduct, they know they could have peace of mind that we are striving to be in compliance with local laws and regulations. And it also shows our transparency. It's our promise to them of what we'll do in our service to them. For the organization, it provides clarity and understanding, and it sort of serves as a roadmap, a centralized reference for daily decisions. It gives our employees a set standard, a solid roadmap to get to where they're going, unlike this gentleman right here who is taking directions from a member of the Imperial Army, the dark side. Maybe not the best person to get advice from. He should probably be consulting his code of conduct instead of taking advice from the stormtrooper. So here's a scenario. We have a work-related conference in Las Vegas. And just for some background, we have 4 employees. Well, it's six. 6 employees go. Now, their standard shift for these 6 employees in our department is 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. And then our agency also has a code of conduct policy which prohibits intoxication during working hours. Now, the conference is from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. And at 2 p.m., 2 employees say, well, it's 2 o'clock. My standard shift is over. Let's go out and hit the slots and have a good time. And then you have 2 other employees who decide that, well, you know, I know it's wrong to, I'm here for work. I know it's wrong to leave. My standard shift is 6 to 2, but the conference time is different, so I'm working here. But you know what I'm going to do? I'm not at work. I'm not at my workplace. I'm going to indulge in an open bar. And they become extremely intoxicated to the point where they become a nuisance. And then the 2 other employees know what's right. They follow the code of conduct to a T, and they stick around for the conference, and they abide by the code of conduct standards against intoxication. So we come to a decision point. So Since the code of conduct is present within an agency, we could discipline both groups of employees for the conduct violations. This is actually me right here, pretending to get reprimanded by a supervisor at my last job. And we had to apply Kant's theory of universalism. Okay, you have a code of conduct in place. You may be going to get one fish trying to jump out the bowl, but then we're just going to imagine that there's a cat viewing right in the middle, in between those bowls, observing and watching and keep an eye on things, so that when one fish does jump out of the bowl, they're going to catch that fish, thereby discouraging the other fish from jumping. Now, if you don't have a code, you also have no grounds for discipline. No cat present, so all the fish are going to start jumping out of the bowl of doing what's right into the bowl of doing what's wrong or against their code of conduct. And then we think about, okay, well, what would happen if all of our employees decide they're going to a conference and they're all just going to stop working at 2 o'clock and go? Now we're wasting taxpayer money on paying for the travel arrangements for this conference. And then we're also allowing employees to make sort of justifications for becoming intoxicated on the job. Well, if I'm not in my specific work building, then they assume that they have free reign. So applying universalism to the situation, you can see that they are not doing what is right. So that's all we have for today. Thank you for sticking around through this presentation, and I'll see you guys next week.